Something bothers you, someone crosses a line, says something careless, does something that actually hurts, and you say nothing. You smile, you change the subject, you tell yourself it's not worth bringing up, that you're probably overreacting, that it's easier to just let it go. Then, weeks later, over something completely unrelated and small, a dish left in the sink, a joke that wasn't even that bad, you snap. Hard. And even you don't fully understand where that much anger came from because on the surface it makes no sense at all. This isn't a short temper, it's the late cost of every time you decided silence was safer than honesty. And there is a very specific reason for your voice disappears exactly when you need it most. Let's call him Leo. He's 32. His roommate has a habit of making plans on his behalf without asking, inviting people over, using his stuff, assuming he's fine. We think nobody actually confirmed with him. Every time it happens, Leo feels a hot flash of irritation, and every time he says nothing. It's fine, no big deal, I don't want to make this weird. He tells himself he is being easygoing, low maintenance, the kind of person who doesn't make a big deal out of small things. But the irritation doesn't actually disappear when he stays quiet. It just goes somewhere, filed away, unresolved, quietly accumulating. 3 weeks and several more unspoken moments later, his roommate makes an offhand joke about Leo being messy. A completely minor comment, say it lightly, with no real edge to it, and Leo, to his own surprise, erupts. Sharp, disproportionate, out of nowhere as far as his roommate is concerned. His roommate looks genuinely confused because from where he's standing, nothing that serious just happened. From the outside, it looks like Leo overreacted to a joke. From the inside, Leo wasn't actually reacting to the joke at all. He was reacting to a very unspoken moment before it, finally reaching to a threshold that had nothing to do with a specific comment that happened to be standing there when it broke. Here is what actually happening. For a lot of people who go quiet instead of speaking up, conflict wasn't something that got resolved calmly growing up. Maybe disagreement in your household led to explosive arguments, prolonged silent treatment, or someone becoming so upset that the original issue got buried under managing their reaction. Maybe speaking up simply never worked. You tried, and it either changed nothing or made things worse. Your nervous system, watching this pattern repeat, drew a reasonable conclusion. Voicing a problem is not safe or effective. Staying quiet, by comparison, at least keeps things calm on the surface. So silence gets reinforced as a safer strategy, again and again, until it becomes the automatic default that a conscious choice you're making each time, but reflex that activates before you are even registered you're upset. The problem is that unexpressed irritation doesn't actually vanish just because you didn't say it out loud. It gets stored. Each unspoken moment adds to a small amount of pressure to an internal reserve that keeps building as long as nothing gets released. Eventually, that reserve hits a threshold, and it comes out not proportional to whatever small things triggered it, but proportional to everything that came before it. Staying silent when something bothers you often gets mistaken for kindness, patience, or emotional maturity, the ability to let small things go. But there is a real difference between genuinely letting something go and simply suppressing it while it continues, unresolved, underneath. Genuine letting go means irritation actually dissolves. Suppression means it's still there, just hidden, still quietly shaping how you feel about the person, still accumulating interest. This is why people who avoid conflict often experience relationships and slowly, mysteriously souring over time, even when nothing dramatic ever seems to happen. From the outside, everything looks calm, but internally, a private ledger is being kept. Every underneath moment logged, every swallowed irritation at the ruining total nobody else can see, until the relationship itself starts to feel subtly exhausting, for reasons that you are hard to name because they were never actually named out loud. There is also a quieter for fear underneath, that voicing the problem, however small, will be met with more disruption than staying silent, that the other person's reaction to hearing "this bothered me" will somehow be worse than the accumulating cost of never saying it. For a lot of people, that fear was accurate once in a specific relationship at a specific time. It doesn't automatically stay accurate everywhere else. There is a person who agrees to plans they don't actually want repeatedly until resentment builds so quietly that they eventually cancel everything at once, seemingly out of nowhere. There is a person who tolerates a friend consistently running late without saying anything, until one day they cancel their friendship almost entirely, with that intensity that looks silent to everyone except them. There is a person in a relationship who absorbs small hurts silently for months, telling themselves each one is too minor to mention, until a single ordinary disagreement becomes a container for months of unspoken grievance, and the resulting fights feel quietly out of proportion to who was on the receiving end of it. In every version, the surface event looks like an overreaction. Underneath, it's simple arithmetic, a long column of unspoken numbers finally totaled. The goal isn't to become someone who says everything that bothers them immediately without filtering that overreaction. Usually just creates a new problem, trading silent resentment for reflexive confrontation. Not everything small needs to become a conversation. The real shift is learning to notice the moment irritation arrives, continually deciding, rather than automatically defaulting whether it's worth naming. Not every bothered feeling needs to be voiced, but the ones that keep recurring, the ones tied to a real pattern rather than the ones that time sleep, are the ones quietly accumulating interest in the private ledger, where you address them or not. The specific practice that helps is asking in the moment, is it something I will still be carrying next week? If the honest answer is yes, that's actually a sign it belongs in an actual conversation, a calm, specific one close to when it happened, rather than a delayed explosion months later attached to something else entirely, saying, hey, when you made plans without checking with me, that actually bothered me. In the moment is a completely different experience for both people. That the same feeling finally surfacing 3 weeks later, disguised as fear over a joke about being messy. So the next time something bothers you and your automatic instinct is to smile, change the subject and tell yourself it's not worth mentioning. Pause and actually check. Is it genuinely small enough to let go of completely, or is it the kind of thing that will quietly file itself away, adding to a total you will eventually pay all at once, at a moment that has nothing to do with the actual cause? You were taught, maybe, that silence was safer than honesty. In some rooms, once, it probably was, but carrying every unspoken thing forever isn't actually peace. It's just late weather, and you're allowed to speak before the storm, instead of only after it.